Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. And welcome to the continuing adventure of my lifetime for sure. And you see a bunch of people sitting here, and they are part of the Positive Talk Radio team. And I wanted to take today to talk about them and the role of what we are doing and the continuing evolution of Positive Talk in all of its forms. And first of all, I'll go by in order of seniority, if I might. Not of personal age, but who's been around me the longest. And first up on the hit parade is Dana Parker. She has been with us for like 3 years plus. She came on the show one time and we just hit it off. She's just an amazing human being, and she's a great life coach, and she is helping people live their lives a little bit better. And she's got a new program that she's working with a bunch of women. Like who would do that?
True, me.
Yeah. And so she's got lots of stuff going on. She's working 12 to 14-hour days. I hope she's getting paid a little bit and stuff. And so she, look at that. There's a smile and a nod. So she's getting paid and all that stuff. So that's good. And so Dana, thank you for being part of our little group. And you're going to be occasionally on the show because you're occasionally really, really, really busy.
It's true. It's true.
So whenever we can find you, you're gonna show up on the show. So
yes,
and we appreciate that. And the next up would be Brachelle, and Brachelle has been with us for about what has it been, about 10 months, 11 months,
something around there. Yeah.
She actually has had something happen, Dana. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but it's happened to her because she's been on the show sometimes, and she has had somebody at the Denver airport. She's had somebody at a concert walk up to her and say, oh, "Are you on Positive Talk Radio?" At least that's what she tells me. I don't know whether that's true or not.
True, Kevin. It's true, Kevin. I don't lie to you. We went over this. No, I wish I had put my number in her phone myself because I think she may have gotten it wrong. But I wish I had that picture to share with all of our viewers. But if you're listening, hello, I love you. We love you. Thank you for the support.
So it's really cool, and she is going to be. She works with us on the team, doing some background work and helping us and schedule guests and answer emails and stuff like that. So she appears on the show, and she is also. I met her through Dana because Dana was coaching her at the time, and I was looking for somebody and somebody or someone, it's something, and Dana said, well, there's this girl. Her name is Brachelle, and I think that she would be a good fit. And she is, and we've become very good friends, and she travels all over the Western United States. Okay, not really, just Salt Lake City to Denver or to Colorado, and then back and forth, and stuff. And so, and then we have Mr. Verico, John, who came to us because he was on a show. And he was very, very engaging, and I really, really liked having him on the show. And through the course of time, and serious top, I must say, top level negotiations, where he has consented that he would like to join our little parade because of what we're trying to accomplish here, and with other people and with in the world around us, which is. Oh boy. Anyway, in the world around us. So, John Verico, welcome.
Kevin, I was actually on the show, I think 3 times or something like that, and and I enjoyed our time together. And I said, in the back of my brain, I said, I wonder if he would like a co-host at some point. Because I really enjoyed the show and I love what we're doing here. Bringing positivity out to the world where we're so in desperate need of it. And before I could actually come up with a way to figure out how to ask about it, Kevin reached out, because the universe works in very mysterious ways, and says, I'd like you to be a co-host on my show. And I waffled because I wasn't sure if I was going to have the time to commit to doing as many shows as Mr. Insanity here does every week.
Agreed.
Yes. So, but I did not say yes hesitantly. I made it seem like it was. I played hard to get, but I was actually, I'm revealing now that I was actually very excited about this opportunity, and still am, even though he has not worn me out quite yet. We're just getting started. There's so much great stuff to do.
Well, in life, first of all, waffles. I love waffles.
So for me, it's gluten-free waffles nowadays, unfortunately. And, I had to turn in my Italian card when my body said no more gluten. It's a no pasta, no bread. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this is not good. But there are some variants out there. There are some gluten-free variants out there that do make them passable.
And Dana, I got to tell you, what's really cool, his wife is the chairperson of, and you probably never heard of this guy, but the Peter Tork fan club and website. Are you familiar with Peter Tork?
I'm not.
It's way before your time, but he was one of the monkeys.
Okay.
And Bonnie is not in charge of the fan club. She runs his social media and used to manage his blues band.
Got it.
And so Peter Tork and Mickey Dolenz and Michael Nesmith and Davy
Jones.
Davy Jones were the magnificent monkeys from 1967 is when their television show hit, I do believe. And stuff. So in any event, he is consented to work with us, and I'm just really happy that all of you are here because we've got so much to do, and I don't do enough of these shows, so we have to do more. Now that I've got a team, we've got to do even more. So,
well, there's never too much positivity out there. So
that's true. However, Kevin, you're still human, so remember that fun fact.
Well, I'm not human anymore. I'm a little bit more. I had a procedure done. And so I'm now a little bit more, I've had a couple of hips replaced, and so now I'm more artificial than I am real.
You're bionic. There's nothing artificial about you, Kevin. You are one of the most genuine people I've ever come across, which is also why I'm here. But you're in part bionic at this point.
We'll call it that. We'll call it that. So I want to welcome everybody to the team. And John, you're
the almost spent $6 million man. I said you're the almost $6 million man at this point.
Well, at this point, I need to make the $6 million, and then we'll be good.
Don't we all?
But John, I know we received an email from the Brushwood Media Network yesterday, and would you read it to Dana? She hasn't had a chance to.
Yeah, this was quite awesome. It came in to the network and said, "Hello, network. Love the show tonight on Positive Talk." And the email says, "We're driving home tonight in Atlanta and listening to the best show. I didn't catch the host's name, but he is so funny, but in a good way. I had a horrible day at work, but when I turned into your station and heard the show, I laughed so hard I cried. The lady he was interviewing was so sweet. Please send this to him, and you can let him know that my wife and I are new but forever listeners." Signed, Mike and Jill. So Mike and Jill, hope you're still listening with us, and so glad. Thank you for the email. and the message, and we look forward to bringing more positivity, light, and laughter to your life.
So how can you be funny in a bad way? I don't understand how that works.
It's kind of like, oh, you're so funny. You're
Yeah.
you're a fun guy. Like, you're unique. You're special. Like, unique. Like, oh, you're different than most people. That's kind of sometimes how it's used.
Or aren't
Funny.
you funny?
Yeah, you're kind of funny. Like,
Yeah,
weird.
you're
That's
funny.
interchangeable with weird.
Yeah.
So are
Negative
you
way.
telling me that
But weird is good too.
This
I'm
is why
just-
the English language
I'm
is
just saying.
so hard to
Mhm.
learn because we interchange it with so many things.
we do indeed. So it's great to have all of you here, and I would love to, and we'll start with Rochelle here. What drove you to want to do this with me?
Well, I had been working with Dana for a while. I met her in my lowest time in my life, and I was working 3 jobs at the time, and I remember I was a lunch lady at a junior high, and it was between the lunch periods, and I had this gut feeling like you need to check your phone, somebody's trying to get a hold of you, something's going on, and I trusted that and never questioned my intuition. And I went and opened my little locker out in the hallway, and I looked at my phone and I saw there was a message from Dana, and I was like, oh my God, nothing else matters right now. So I ran into the employee bathroom and I called her back, and she was like, hey, I know you have a lot going on. I know this may seem like a crazy idea, but I think it'd be an awesome opportunity for you. I know this guy named Kevin, and he runs a podcast show, and it's called Positive Talk Radio. I think it'd be great for you to be involved in. And I thought about it the whole day. I just couldn't wait to get done at the school and get home and call Kevin. And that first phone call, everything kind of just fell into place. And then here I am.
You know, Dana, you've been with me for a long time, and you do know that I follow my instincts and I follow my intuition almost exclusively.
True.
And so when I met Rochelle, she had 3 jobs, no lie. And within a month of meeting her and asking her if she would like to participate with us, they all evaporated. I'm sorry about that, Michelle. I didn't do it, but somebody
No,
did.
no, I'm thankful. I'm thankful. And what's crazy is I was going through hard time after hard time after hard time and realized that I had something to do with that. I was putting myself in situations of high vulnerability, right? And surrounding myself still with people who didn't deserve my energy or my time. And the longer I worked with Dana and the more time I spent with Kevin, everybody kind of flushed out all those other jobs. Everything, I kind of was able to shed what I needed to be who I am today for myself and for my family and for Kevin in Positive Talk Radio. So I'm more than thankful, and I love my life.
And John came to us because he was on the show and I wanted to have him back, and he was on the show again. And then I got a strange message from somewhere that said, hey, call John. I think he should be on the show. And I said, what? And call John. And so I called him up. Now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, John has recently retired.
That was me. That was me, by the way. I sent that man. I'm kidding.
Gone through the spiritual speaker.
Yeah, but John has been in media for 40 years, and was a PR guy, and he worked for the government, and he did all of this stuff. And I was thinking to myself, he's so busy. He's got so much going on, and he's not going to have time to do this. But I'll ask him if he wants to occasionally show up. And I framed it like no expectations on my part. Show up when you can. I understand you're busy, and that's fine. Well, unfortunately, his busyness got less because some things happened in his world that changed it a little bit and allowed it. It is the funniest thing, Dana. But you
It
know,
Yeah, how the universe works. And this is actually, I think you bring up such a good point, Kevin, that I really want to highlight here. That a lot of times we can actually get these like intuitive hits in our life, these little like whisperings or knowings, and we talk ourselves out of it. We discount them and actually talk ourselves out of it. Now, unfortunately for Kevin, he did not talk himself out of it. He didn't. But those moments are actually really powerful.
So what you're saying is that now he's stuck with us, right?
Yeah. Now he really. Now this is Kevin's dream, though, is to have a team of people that are supporting this network, supporting this message. You know, since I've known Kevin, this has been his dream, and so it's so cool to see this. And again, every person listening, you have a dream. You have a dream inside you somewhere. It's in there. You have this hope of something that you want, your next steps in life, something that you desire. And you'll get these little impressions. And sometimes they're not logical. Actually, a lot of times they don't seem logical. But if you'll follow those little breadcrumbs, those little intuitive hits inside you, it will open up the doors so that you can live your dream, so you can step into your dream. And it's so important to listen to those so that you can really take action and implement your dream into reality. The whole reason why it becomes a shelf dream, where you shelf it and you don't ever get to it, is because you talk yourself out of those intuitive hits.
And on that note too, I'd have to say I love that you mentioned that, Dana, because when you taught me not to do that, the first thing you had said that allowed those thoughts and those hits to come through that I feel in my heart or hear in my head, it was because I opened myself up. I became available. When you are not available, like you don't even know what your dream is because you're closed off. You have to be open and allowing and trusting in yourself and the universe to have those things come through. And when they do, don't question it.
Yeah, because that action is vital to making it reality. That action's vital. It's a co-creation with the universe. It's like you'll get that hit if you take action. There's even more. There's better.
Yeah.
You know, it's like kind of a treasure hunt with the universe, if you will.
And and it's exactly right. I look back across the various careers that I had and the kinds of things that I did in my life, and there were times I can look back and I said, "Why did I say no? Why did I let practicality get in the way?" I heard this great thing. A friend of mine said, he said that, when the universe gives you an opportunity, it doesn't necessarily first check with your calendar or your bank account.
Yep.
And so, and I look back and I go all the way back. I'm talking like 1979. I was doing a zillion things because, Kevin, I think you know that already, and you're starting to get the hint, Rochelle and Dana, that I can't do just one or two things at a time. I always overcommit. My wife says I have helium arm. But this is way before even all of that. So I was doing like a bunch of different things. I was still going to college for electrical engineering. I was working as a security guard in the overnight shift and I would do my homework then. And I was a short order cook, and I was working in nightclubs every once in a while, sometimes as a bartender, sometimes as a roadie with a band, sometimes as a disco dance instructor, and sometimes, yes, I know.
have a picture, by the way.
Yes, that picture will never see the light of public day. But anyway, just picture a skinnier version of me wearing a silver lame jumpsuit. We'll just leave
Look
that
like
there.
John Travolta.
I know I was going to say
the original John.
Yes.
The original John Revolting, right? And I was also doing occasionally some stand-up comedy, and I had the opportunity to meet the lovely and remarkable Pearl Bailey, who was a famous jazz and blues singer, and she actually came to see me at one of my shows, and she said, "You're really funny. I'd like to introduce you to some people." And stupid me. Now, of course, this is 79. We didn't have email and stuff, right? So she gives me her phone number, her address, that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm just little people like up. What am I going to do? Just go and show up and knock on her door in New York?
Yeah.
Or just call her out of the clear blue? I just didn't think that was really feasible or possible. And then the practical part of my brain said, well, stand-up comedy, that's not a real job. You know, if you're not grueling, if you don't hate it, it's not real work. And so I never followed up.
Yeah.
I never followed up. And then looking back, you know, there are things like that. We do that to ourselves all the time because we let the practical get in the way.
And also the other people that are around us that are saying, John, electrical engineering, that's a good career. And being a stand-up comic probably isn't, and you're just wasting your time and that.
You got it. You got it. And you know what? Electrical engineering lasted me 2 years, and then I decided to get completely out of it and go a whole other route with my life and career. But then now look at my wife when we had met Peter Tork, who was a lovely individual. He had just started his blues band. And then through some discussions, when my wife she was actually working for an education nonprofit, and she asked him if his new band would mind, because he had been a teacher for a little while, would he mind performing for a conference of teachers, you know, at their dinner event? And she goes, I know it's really a stretch. And he said, you know what? He said, you know, all of my band is out in LA. This is on the East Coast. So if you can find me some other couple of gigs to help us support the travel expenses, I could charge you local band prices. So she put together a mini tour. She was great at organizing stuff, and it went really well. And he goes, hey, that was really good. Would you do it again? And she said, okay. And that went really well. And he said, would you manage my band? And of course, the practicality of my wife's like, I've never worked in the music industry. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never worked with these kinds of contracts. I don't know how to do this. And she said, I'm going to give it a try. And it wound up being, you know, the best 20 years of her life. Right.
Wow.
Because we don't want to get to that point when we're in our upper years. I'm not saying where I'm at now, but our upper years, and say, I wish I had.
Right.
You know, or what if? What if? So your advice to pay attention to those little inklings is straight on target.
Priceless.
Anything is possible.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I just would like to make the point that if I hadn't made the decision, if my friend had not come to me and said, hey, we should do a television show, which we couldn't do, but we could do radio. Fast forward 20 years in a different time, place, none of this would be happening, and none of us would be together, and none of us would be talking to people about positive talk and about leading a better life for it. So all of it is working together in concert with one another. It is a magical dance, and I'm sure John knows a lot about that.
Yeah, he sure does.
You know what, Dana and Brichelle, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to ask Kevin to do something, because I bet he has not done this. But I would love to hear, and I bet the listeners would love to hear, his story about how this all got started.
Yes. Right after the break.
Oh, very good. Hold on. I got to do this. And we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with, okay, my story. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everybody. It's great to see everybody here. And John, you're going to make me tell my story again, but that's okay. I like John, and like everybody here, I had a varied careers. I started as a graveyard dishwasher with Denny's, his first job that I didn't hate. And I didn't have a college education, never went to college, except for in drama a little bit later. But so I did food service, and I did food service sales and all that kind of stuff. And I woke up one day when I was 42 years old, and I had the house, had the wife. Thank God that's gone. Had the kids, had the dog, had the cat, all that stuff. And I said to myself, why am I really here? And you hear that in the front of the show. Why am I really here? What am I here to do? And it ain't to sell dead, dismembered chicken, which I did for 6 years, and traveled around the country talking to folks about that. And so I went to a friend's house and we were sitting there chatting, and I was concerned. Why am I here? I wanted an answer. I wanted somebody to tell me, why am I here, dang it? And the two people we were talking to, this is the first time I met one of them, and they looked at each other and they said, we're having the same conversation. Really? So I wasn't weird after all.
How old were you at the time?
42.
Okay, thank you.
And so we started going down. We wanted to learn a bit more about spirituality, about meditation, and how it all works. And that became a real big thing for me. Is how does this all work? And so through a series of different experiences, one of which was, he said, go to a metaphysical bookstore and buy the first book that speaks to you. And that was Journey of Souls. And it was about life after death and life between lives and all that kind of stuff, which hell, and it was like, it fell off the shelf and it was like, here, buy me. So I did. And then one day he came to me and he said, I think we need to do a television show to talk to people about all these things that we're learning about. I think people would be interested in that. And I said, I agree. But I don't know if we can do TV. And by the way, I have a face for radio anyway. And so I said, we can't do TV, but we can buy time on a radio station. So we did. We bought time on a radio station and we did 2 hours a day, 2 nights a week. And we called it Spirit Talk. And we had a psychic medium who was still a good friend of mine. We had other folks that came on to talk about meditation and energy work and all that kind of. And I was learning all of these things, which, by the way, is one of the reasons why Brichelle is here, because she's got unbelievable talent and she can learn from all the wonderful people that we have on the show. Then, as always happens for me, and I hope it doesn't happen this time, but it has always happened, people come and people go. And this guy who said, you should do a television show, we started doing the radio show together, and politely, he sucked at it. He wasn't good at it. He didn't like it, and he hated it. But I fell in love with it.
It happens.
Yeah. And he said, well, you should do this. And I said, yeah, but I want to have a team. I want to have a group of, stop me if you've heard this before, Dana. I want to have a team.
Oh, I love it.
I want to have a team. I want to have a group of people. I want to put this all together for everybody. Hi, Judy, by the way. Judy Wergland I've known since I was like 10, and she's listening in. So, in any event, the universe transpired that things would line up and happen in a certain way so that at the same time my company was being sold to another company, then I didn't want to work for them because I hated the guy that I was now going to report to. And the radio station that I was talking to was flipping their format from CNN News to a block programming format. And they offered me 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I figured, I did the math, and I figured if I could sell some advertising, I can make it work. And unfortunately, I didn't sell enough advertising over the course of a year. But the last day that they let me be on the show, I didn't have any idea what kind of an impact we were having, or if I was having any at all. Because John, you know how it is when you're sitting in a booth. Or Dana and Brichelle, when you're sitting in a booth and you're all by yourself and you're talking about stuff, you don't know if anybody's listening or not.
It's true.
You don't know if you're having any kind of an impact at all. And so when I announced that the show was going to go off the air, I had the phone lines filled up. And by the way, Brent Gowdy says, hello, everybody, beautiful people. And I know that he's connected to somebody here. So
hi, Dad.
Brent.
And these are the family affair. And so it was the last day, and I announced that the show is going off the air. I had a couple of assistants that worked for me, and they were crying in the studio, and the phone lines filled up. And people that I had no idea who they were called in and said, I'm sitting here looking at a pile of books I bought because of your show, because of all the cool people that you've had on. And another one said, my health is so much better because of Dr. Nita, a naturopath, and Dr. Jerry Armour, who created and sold vitamins and stuff. And she said, my health is so much better. It would not be this way had I not listened to this show. And so there were several more callers, one of which was Carol from Bainbridge Island. And she said, we're devastated that the show is going off the air. And I said, oh, come on, it's a radio show. You can't be devastated. She said, no, you don't understand. I'm an Alzheimer's caregiver. And we sit here and we listen to your show 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, because you can still reach her. When you laugh, she goes, there he goes again. And so it was so that taught me that was what I needed to do with my life. And so, to make a long story short, there's more to it, but driving a bus for 10 years and all of that kind of stuff. But it all taught me that this is what I should be doing. And that's how I got to meet Dana, how Brichelle and I have become very close, including a phone call that terminated at 3:00 in the morning one day. And John, you're going to become a really, really important piece of what we do. And I really appreciate your heart and your soul and who you are. And I know that, Dana, this is the first time you met John. He's pretty cool, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for this team.
I'm excited to finally meet you too.
Thank you. Kevin, just take a second and I want you just to soak this in, because this is a big moment of progress for you since we met. And I think it's important to always just take that moment and look at what you've created. Look at what your commitment has done. Look at what all these actions, you're like, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this is going to work, but we're doing it, has led you to this point where we're regularly, and anyone listening, this is why it's actually so valuable and important to write in, to share your comments, to share what you're learning or what you're experiencing through the show, or even what you're interested in hearing more about, because it lights Kevin up and it actually gives us fuel and energy to keep going. And everyone deserves that in their life. And Kevin and this team care so much about what you guys want to hear, what everyone wants to hear, what everyone wants to, or what everyone's enjoying. And so taking that time, just a big thanks to everyone who's taken the time, and an invitation for anyone who does feel something in these shows to message in and share, because it gives us clues about who's listening and what we want to continue putting on the show.
As a matter of fact, we received an email 3 days. John, when was it? When they were talking about time management and they really wanted some tips and some really interesting people to come on and talk about what time management looks like and how to achieve it and stuff. So
I have a book recommendation for that. If you're listening and that was your suggestion, this is the best time book I've ever read in my life. And I have read so many books in my life. It's called Time Magic by Melissa Ambrosini and Nick, let's see, what's his last name? Nick Broadhurst. That book has been life-changing for me as a as a busy life coach, helping me understand time in a totally different way. And it's not how much can I fit in my life, it's how do I prioritize the most important things and then make my life work around that? My business, my work, all the things. It is prioritizing what we value first. It's the best book I've ever read on time management. So Time Magic. I believe they have a podcast too. So look that up.
Cool. Well, and
excellent.
Go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, and I found a couple of guests that we're going to be bringing on later on. Coming down the pike, we have a couple of guests coming on who are going to be able to talk about this topic as well. So this is great stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
I wonder if they'll mention that book.
Well, and Dana, I got to tell you, it is magical because John, because of his work in the arts and with people like Peter Tork and stuff. There's a guy that was on it was on Star Trek, and he magically can see now. LeVar Burton, he was blind on Star Trek, and now he can see. And we're reaching out to him to see if I'm just kidding. To see if he can come on the show. So it's adding.
Yeah, LeVar Burton, if you're listening, this is the show I was telling you about. We'd love to have you come on.
Indeed, and he can see in everything. It's really cool.
LeVar Burton also, I mean, is also known for all of his work in doing the Reading Rainbow show. Yes. Most people know him through Reading Rainbow, or in Star Trek Next Generation as Geordi LaForge.
Yes.
The engineer who was blind, but he also was in Roots, don't forget, too.
Kunta
Kinte. And so he just won a presidential recognition for his life's work. And
wow.
So we were very delighted to see that. And it's exceptional when people who do such good for the world get finally recognized for it.
Yeah.
So we've reached out, and if anyone out there has a direct connection to LeVar, we've reached out as well. But we would love to have LeVar Burton come on this show.
And indeed, if you know somebody that is really working for the betterment of mankind and womankind, and
even on a small scale, even on a local scale,
we have met some over the course of our 900 shows now. We've met some of the coolest people that have come by way of they just show up. And they've got unbelievable things that they're doing for the world. One gal that her husband, she kissed her husband goodbye. He got on his bicycle and he was dead 5 minutes later. And she started a nonprofit organization called the Widows Club. And that is now a multinational company that is helping people get through being a widow or a widower and helping. So it is amazing the people that are doing these incredible things for the world, and we don't hear enough about them.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a good reminder too, Kevin, that everybody's got their story. Everybody's got something, and it's not something that we should be comparing. Oh, well, this that I went through is worse than this you went through, because you don't know that. If you stepped into somebody else's shoes, you might understand a little bit more. Realizing that I'm working with Dana, I used to love being angry. Like, that's where I felt my power. I loved being mean, and I used to be so angry about everything.
I can't see you being mean.
Oh gosh. Well, that's good, because I used to be really good at it. And I started to realize, the only reason I'm angry within to everybody else is because I'm angry inside. And so when I see other people being like how I used to be, I don't give that back to them, because I understand they're really just hurting inside. And if you show them a little love and kindness in moments where they don't, it'll make all the difference.
Rochelle, I got a great story that you can build around that, because you can say, I was listening to Taylor Swift and she's got a song that Why Are You So Mean? And I listened to the lyrics and I decided I'm going to give it up. I'm not going to be mean anymore.
I didn't listen to Taylor Swift before a few years ago, but I've learned to appreciate. I know you love her though, Kevin. We'll get her on the show someday.
You know what it is it's not necessarily the music that she does or how talented she is. She's all of those things, but she's a billionaire now, and she's still got a down-to-earth heart.
Yep.
And works with people that she loves that come to her concert, and she's just a regular human being, and she's not all that now. She is
I
just
have to tell you,
she still appreciates people.
Kevin.
Yes.
Yeah. And I met her before she was famous. Me and my dad we were walking to a country station. He was picking up some tickets, something he won, because he's always winning stuff. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, what a cute puppy!" And he was not a puppy; he was a pit bull German Shepherd. But she was super tall, super slim, just beautiful, happy, outgoing. And that was when she was young, and she's continued that throughout her entire career and going through all this big hit, top this and that. So I think that's awesome. She's just a good person.
Hey, Rochelle, I hate to break it to you, she's still young.
Right.
Okay, well, I was little, and I mean, we weren't that far apart in age, but she was so tall, and I just remember being like, wow, like she's really tall, had this blonde hair. She's like, oh my gosh, can I pet your dog? And didn't think anything of it. And then a few years later, boom.
It is amazing how that happens, and in that case, it happened to a really, really down to earth, good person,
Yeah.
and stuff. So it's really cool. Now, before we get too far along, because we're in the last quarter of the show, I would like to touch bases with what Dana's doing, because Dana also 3 years ago was concerned about what she was doing, and it wasn't working out as well as she'd hoped. She was surrounded by the wrong people, and 3 years later, I asked her, because we haven't touched base in like a month, and I asked her before the show began. I said, "So how you been?" And she said, "I'm busier than ever. I'm really busy doing all the things that I've been wanting to do and dreaming about doing for the last 3 or 4 years. And it's just is coming together piece by piece, person by person. The bad people are leaving, the good people are replacing her. And it's all because of the energy that she brings to it. And talk to us a little bit about what you're doing now, and that the impact it's beginning to have on all of us.
Yeah. Well, I think I want to take you back first all the way to second grade me. Second grade me would spend my time, invest all my time on the playground with the people that were picked on the most, the people who I saw greatness in them and no one else would acknowledge it or recognize it. And I would make sure they knew they were special. I'd make sure that they knew that everything about them I thought was amazing. And I have had this undeniable desire to help people see their greatness for my whole life. And so it brought me into life coaching, and I've always loved life coaching. I've always loved helping people dissecting their dreams, strategizing on how to achieve those, and then understanding their most incredible strengths. And through a series of events, I got introduced to human design, gene keys, and astrology, some incredible partners. And this year we started, I co-founded the business, The Wise Woman World. And The Wise Woman World is all about helping people deepen their understanding of their greatness, to understand themselves, understand the hard things that they go through, and transform in a safe place through that. We have a group coaching program that's called the Divine Design Prosperity, where we help people align and brand their business according to their unique design. So we can actually see in someone's charts, these different charts. We take your birth time, birthplace, location, and we see in your astrology, gene keys, and human design charts your greatest strengths, what makes you stand out in a crowd, your ideal clients, the best ways to brand for you, how to present yourself authentically so that people can really own their gifts. So we work a lot with conscious entrepreneurs who are wanting to brand, run, and really do their business in the most authentic way. So it's been such a joy. We had our first beta launch. We have 11 women in the program right now. And I have them up on my board, all of their names. This is a completely heartfelt, heart-centered work for me. The fact that I get to dive into and invest all my energy into showing people and helping them unveil their greatness is the greatest dream of my whole life. And that I get to do it every single day, that I get to be with these individuals and help them. Yesterday I helped a woman understand what makes her stand out and how it was written in her stars to do this work. And she just sobbed. And that is the most soul fulfilling work ever. And so I feel so lucky. We do retreats, we do these group coaching programs, and it's been incredible to actually have a team. There's 3 other women that I work with, who are incredible and gifted. And so through the universe, I mean, it's me taking those steps, right, Kevin? You were such a huge anchor when I was like, ooh, maybe, you know, I just had gone through a divorce. I was in one of the hardest, lowest points in my life. And I was like, maybe everyone around me is like, you should just go get a job at Costco. Go work at Costco. It's steady income. And I'm like, but this is my dream. I've invested the last 14 years of my life in this area, and I know I can do this. And Kevin was a huge anchor for me through that. And now, because I've held to that dream and really taken those steps, even at times where it felt so risky and I wasn't sure how I was even gonna pay my bills at times when I first started, now to get to this point where we're seeing huge influx of clients and people. Our retreats are selling out. It's a dream come true. So Kevin, thank you so much for what you've done, and everyone deserves a Kevin in their life. Everyone
Yes,
deserves a
they
Kevin in
do.
their life. Just
Amen on that.
through those shaky moments where you're unsure about what you're committed to. And now, Kevin, because of what you did for me, I get to do that for other people. So it's a really beautiful opportunity, and I'm thrilled to be in the thick of it.
It is so cool to watch the way that you have blossomed, from being scared to death and to being living in your greatness. And John, and I'll even pay for it to have Dana do your chart, because I think that you will be amazed at the chart that she can present for you, because and that's what she did for she I got to tell you, when she first started doing this with the charts and with all that stuff, she asked for my birthday, so I gave it to her, and then she said, "Oh yeah, that's why." Oh, okay. That's that you're doing this because this is why you're doing this, and this is how you're supposed to be doing this and stuff. And it was like, oh, you mean this wasn't happenstance? This is really real?
It's the best part. And even John, while you were talking, I'm like, ooh, I want to look at your charts, because you're probably a manifesting generator, and it is your genius to be having multiple projects and multiple things you're working on at one time. And actually, most of the world they're not manifesting generators or this type of personality. And we're a different type. We're here to master something. And so the people who are here to master things are going to be like, John, you're doing it wrong. And you're like, no, I'm not. I'm here to be in multiple things, doing multiple things at one time. And that's what I love about this work, is I can see different aspects that will make sense of what you're doing and how you're doing it, and give you confidence. So that when people question, you're like, no, I'm living true to what I'm here to do and how I do it. So it's such a fun process. And then as you get going too, you start learning about other people, and you're like, oh, that's why you do that. That's why you, you mean my mom who did that one thing that really bugged me? It wasn't personal. It was just how she sees and views the world. Oh my gosh.
And Dana, that was so dangerous for me, because when you taught me that, I needed to know what time everybody was born, when their birthday was, what their last name originated from. Like, I learned everything, and I'm a master generator, John. So that'd be amazing if you were as well. It's kind of rare, but
I'm looking
I
forward
should
to
deep dive in.
finding this out. All I know is that
Yeah,
people
and it's
just think I'm
amazing.
crazy. So
I felt the same way. And then I started to learn more just about myself and who I was as a whole, and why I functioned the way I did, and be able to like actually find some security and understanding in it, but also understand other people. I learned how to communicate with them and how to regulate them and their emotions and the things they would say to me, because I would blow up. I would just freak out. I didn't know how to communicate, because everybody's got a different way of how they function. And when you start to learn who you are and then who others are that are around you, it'll change your entire life.
Just your life.
It's beautiful.
It is so true. And it's taken me to this stage in my life to actually, as I look back over my life and my career, and how I've evolved into where I'm at now, and I realize it was in front of me all along. Is a big forehead slap factor. Okay, I mean, I was just a little bit. I was an undersized kid in school. I was only 5'3", weighed 110 pounds when I graduated high school, so I was picked on by bullies a lot.
Yeah.
And I found, as I have, when I look back on the things that I've done in my life and the kinds of jobs I've taken and the interactions and the way I deal with people and my desire to help people, all of that all along comes from being that underdog and not wanting to see other people go through what I did. And
Yep.
so throughout my entire career, I have fought against bullying behavior. In whatever subtle, because I'm non-confrontational if I can be. So in whatever subtle way I can. So by working with people, helping them realize their own worth and seeing that they have value and showing that they can take pride in what they do, no matter what it is that they do, then the bullies can't they can't harm them through that shell. And so it's taken me, like I said, if I had to try to define this years ago, there was no way. Way. But I mean, even being a disco dance instructor, it wasn't because and sure, I could have done competition dance, but instead I actually got more out of helping other people learn to dance and putting them into competitions rather than my doing it myself. And it wasn't because I had less confidence in myself to be able to do it. It was because I wanted to see them succeed.
There was more joy in that.
Much more.
I can so much relate to that. There's just so much joy in seeing somebody like really win at something they're dreaming about. There's just nothing better in the world. There's nothing.
It is. And we all every day have the opportunity to do that for people.
Yeah.
Even in the smallest way, even in the slightest interaction, even if it's just offering a smile when a smile is absolutely what that person might have needed in that moment.
Yeah. Or a compliment. A compliment.
Yeah.
Complimenting people. What's so fascinating about compliments is the universe can remind us of a compliment again and again and again and again throughout our life. That is gold for the universe. When we share our positive words with other people, they can and wills oftentimes, especially when it's impactful, heartfelt, they will remember that, even if it's simple. It's amazing what those
always
words can do.
We always do. That's what we keep going back to, right? We feel that it energizes us. And you know what? It also gives us the impetus to pass it on and do that to the next person.
When I first met Dana a long time ago, I said to her, "You're an amazing human being." And it took her about 6 months before she started to say, "Okay, I received that." Rather than, "Oh no, don't be silly. I'm not all that and stuff." And it took her a long time to where she would honestly say, "Thank you," when I received that. By the way, Dana, we've achieved another record. You know what that record is?
What?
Every show you've been on, you've cried at one point, and that record remains intact.
True. It's true.
You know what? Our work here is done, right? Mission accomplished.
Yes, indeed. But that's how heartfelt she is about what she does. Purcell's the same way.
She taught me how to be that way. So
and I can make you cry
together.
That too. So
watch
yourself,
we realize where our life should be and the impact that we have on others, and we can see that difference. It's always good to help us remember that we don't need to compare ourselves with other people. And I was constantly doing that in my youth. I felt that I was made to feel like I was less than. And it's taken me many years. And I think that we realize this too. And this is what makes this group particularly special. So we realize we don't need to compare ourselves to anyone except for who we were yesterday. And each and every day we just get just that little bit better and that little bit better and that little bit better.
Yeah. It reminds me of my favorite quote. My favorite quote, and I don't know who said it, is "Comparison is the thief of all joy." And
Ooh, nice.
that really is the power of knowing yourself. Aristotle said, know thyself. It's the beginning of all wisdom. When you
Yes.
know yourself and you know your greatness, there's no need to compare. You know you're great, and you know everyone else in the room is also. I think the true definition of humility is not putting yourself above or below anyone. That's true humility right there.
Right
Owning
there.
your greatness and then automatically liberating others to do the same. And we all have it in us. We all have it. And anyone who feels the need to tear others down, they just don't know their greatness. They're not aware.
Yep.
They're not aware of how amazing they are themselves. And they've never been shown that. So
Yeah.
I
It's
think
always
there's
you against you.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
I love all of you guys at one point have said something about other people and being realistic. And when someone tells you to be realistic, they don't see you for who you are
No.
capable of being or who you believe you are in yourself. Those are not the people you want around you. I was raised completely around everybody who was like, okay, well, you need to be realistic. Well, you need to do this. Well, this is going to be safer for you. You know, if you do that, there's so many risks. Well, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. And the more I have learned that, the more I've been able to step inside myself and realize just because you are afraid of doing something for yourself because you don't feel security within doesn't mean I'm going to do that to me. And as I've learned that, I've been able to pass it on. And I have to say, my dad has been my number one supporter. He has always told me, Rochelle, the world is yours. You can do anything you want at any given point. Don't let anybody tell you different. And once I stopped listening to other people and looked within and realized it's me against me, not me against the world, it's me with me and the world, it it'll completely change your reality with like in the split second you have that light bulb go off. So I love that all of you have mentioned that in a different way.
You know, kids,
Absolutely.
you have any idea how happy I am that this group has come together, because this has been a really, really cool show.
Well, you have had a big cheesy grin on your face for quite a while.
the whole time.
It is, I'm telling you, it is like, it's an amazing thing. And each of you can have and will have, has had, will and continue to have an amazing impact. Part of that impact is going to be coming through this show. The rest of it is, as an example, John is a speaker. You can hire that man to come do your speaking for you. John, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do they do it?
Hey, best way, just go to my website, johnverico.com. Best, the easiest, fastest way, or email john@johnverico.com.
And he will travel 1,000,000 miles if you pay him $1 million. Anyway, so
but yes, I do speaking and coaching and love to get out there and help people any way that I can. And now that we're out of the COVID era and we're back to doing in-person things again, it makes my life, it brings me much more joy to be able to interact with people in person.
And Dana, isn't this a cool group to be part of? And how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, thewisewomanworld.com.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, thewisewomanworld.com. You'll see we're all in there. You can contact us. You can see our programs, the things we have to offer there.
Say that one more time.
Thewisewomanworld.com.
Cool. And Rochelle, you're on Positive Talk Radio, right? I know. I've heard you. I've seen you on that show.
You're that Positive Talk Radio girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, she's had a couple people that have actually recognized her. So you're going to be the pinup person for we'll put your head on my body. How about that? No, that won't work.
Oh,
no.
I don't know how I feel about that, Kevin. That might look so. Then we'd be some sort of dysmorphed. But yeah, for any of our listeners that if you have any questions, suggestions, you want to reach out, maybe be on the show, or you know somebody who would be a great fit, reach out to Brichelle at kmmedia.pro. Send me an email. I'll respond to you, and we'll go from there. So thank you for listening.
That was wonderful. Thank you very much. And Dana, what do you think of John? Isn't he cool?
I love it. John, you're great. You have a
He
fun
brings
yet grounded
people.
personality is how my first experience of you. So thank you.
Well, I've fallen in love with you, so
Thank you.
it's mutual.
Thank you.
But he's married and you're engaged, so you know
I know how he meant it. I could feel it. It was well received on my end.
It wasn't meant in a creepy way.
I did not feel that at all.
Not like in a
Come
creepy
on.
stalker way.
I feel you.
Everybody's got love.
Indeed. And I want to thank everybody for listening to Positive Talk. And you can find us everywhere. It's Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. You can find us. We're just everywhere. So listen to the 900 shows that we've done in the past. We've got another 900 by next week. I think, John, I'm behind.
I think you're running a little behind there, Kevin. We got to.
Yeah. So it's just my great pleasure. You know, we could do these shows. We don't even have to have a guest. We could do it we're fine. So I want to thank everybody for being here and for listening to us. And especially, you know, we did not publicize that this show was going to be on, and we've had listeners the entire time. So there. And I want to thank everybody for being here, and have a great day, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin@kmmedia.pro.